Welcome back, everybody, to another Factorio video. Do you recognize this base? This is the Bootstrap base. We made this base about a year ago. The idea was to take a set of blueprints that came in a blueprint book and to streamline the process of getting your base up and running without too much thought, without memorizing too many things, so that you could then produce a real base, produce a base that would make your mega base. Came with this blueprint book right here, which is now a little bit out of date because this is for 0.17 a year ago, and now we're into 0.18, so some things have changed. The blueprints mostly work, a few of them don't. Rocket fuel doesn't, for instance. But anyway, it came with all these blueprints. You would put them together, it would move you through the different research levels, the different science packs. You would unlock all the things, and at the end you would have a fully functioning base that would produce 45 science per minute. That was the idea of all the different science packs. And it would also have this area at the end to produce all the stuff you need to make a real base, a mega base. All the modules and the machines and the belts and everything. But when I was building this, I knew right off the bat, before I even finished it, that it had an inherent flaw, that it is just too slow. This base, at 45 science per minute, and at the amount of materials we have coming down the belts into this area to make stuff, it's just too slow to make an actual mega base. It's not going to make circuits and modules and beacons and machines and belts and all the things we need. It's not going to make them fast enough. It's going to be way too slow. And so I knew right off the bat that we were going to need, let's call it a mid-base, in order to make a mega base. Not just a base to build a base. We need a base to build a base to build a base. Okay? We need 3 levels. We need a starter base and a mega base. And in the middle, we need a mid-base. Are you following me? Okay, so ever since then, about a year ago, I've been doing a little bit of tinkering here and there. We're gonna need a super duper slam cut. Here we go. Yep, alakazam. First time I've tried such an advanced form of video editing transitional technology. All right, anyway, so ever since I made that build a year ago, this is the same Bootstrap world that we made a year ago. Ever since then, I've been tinkering within the same world, and it is now littered with all kinds of different versions and iterations of what has become the now finished Zisteau's Midstrap book for 0.18. Hooray, it's done! And in just a minute, we are going to dive into a new world, and we're going to try it out, we're going to build it, and see how it goes. And I should mention that none of these builds, none of these different blueprints, none of them have been tested. Not a single one have had items go down the belts to see if they work. Because one of my favorite things to do in the game is to make a layout and then plug it in and watch all the items go down the belts, watch everything spring into life, and to see how it works all at once, basically. And so I thought, hey, what about this idea? What if we designed an entire base, not just little layouts here and there? What if I designed an entire base and we got to plug it all in at once? Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, that would be cool. All right, so let's do it. And so none of these layouts, none of these belts, nothing have been plugged in ever. None of them, except for, I guess the only exception is that this nuclear layout has been tested because I needed the power to run all this stuff. I currently have in this world 3,000 beacons plugged in from all the different versions of all the different things all around, and that draws a lot of power. I needed a nuclear reaction for the 1.21 gigawatt. Actually, it's way more than 1.21 gigawatts. It's 1.4 gigawatts. I just watched Back to the Future recently anyway, and reminded me of that line. But before we dive into building the new Midstrap base, since there's so much stuff laying around, I've spent so long tinkering with these ideas, I thought we'd spend a few minutes and just talk about some ideas, some decisions, how I arrived at, well, basically what ended up being the Midstrap book that we're about to build. And so the first decision that I had to make is if we're going to make a Midstrap base and also a Bootstrap base, are they going to be the same base? Is it going to be upgraded in place, or are they going to be next to each other? And how fast is that mid base going to be? What's the number we're going to shoot for? And how do I come up with that? And I don't want to get too much into calculations and breaking out the spreadsheets and stuff like that. So I'll try to keep it fairly simple and streamlined. But basically, one of the things that was really the best part about building this is adding the robots, getting the robots up and running, and then letting them do as much as possible. And so, for the Midstrap, I wanted to emphasize that and let the robots do as much as possible. And one of the fiddlier things of building this initial bootstrap base was actually splitting off all these things. That was really annoying. I didn't like actually building things. I want to be super duper lazy, which is a little bit contradictory in spending a year designing a thing without building it yet. But I wanted to be lazy when we're actually building the thing for real. So I want the robots to do as much as possible. And so I decided if we're going to do a bootstrap into Midstrap kind of idea, I want to upgrade in place. And so all these layouts, they've got to be redesigned because we are going to need, for the Midstrap, we're going to need some beacons, we're going to upgrade, we're going to start using modules and all that kind of stuff. And so none of these layouts are going to work because there's just not room. They were not designed with beacons in mind. And so the next number that I came up with for how fast is the Midstrap base going to be, it was a fairly organic process. I laid out all these machines up here, all these science machines. I took each and every one and I laid them out, these Science Machine Mark IIs. And then I just took those, like I'll take these 5 right here as an example. Plop them down, and then we grab some beacons. So let's say we use the same number of machines, 45 science per minute. We add beacons to either side. We upgrade these machines to Mark IIIs. And then we give them eventually productivity modules. And we give the beacons speed modules. And that is going to change our bootstrap base of 45 science a minute. It's going to upgrade to 450 science per minute. That's pretty good. And that also works out to 7.5 science packs per second, which is exactly half of a yellow belt. So I could combine these guys with the other science packs, and that would be fairly good. If we went any faster than that, we would need a little bit more than yellow belt. So that seemed like a perfect number. We have the same amount of machines, and I've laid out next to all the Assembly Machine Mark IIs, I've laid out the Assembly Machine Mark IIIs, and this is the number we would need if they were supplied with beacons and modules. And for the most part, it's pretty close. We have almost the exact same number. So if I redesign all this science stuff to include beacons, we can basically have the same layout for both speeds. We just need to upgrade the machines and add beacons later. So that's pretty good. So that's what we went for. That's what I decided to do. 450 science packs per minute. In some cases, we actually need fewer machines because of the productivity bonuses. But there is a problem. As we go farther and farther backwards, we end up with just a stupid amount of materials we need. If we want to keep the central main bus idea that this base has, it's just going to get ridiculous. This is how big it would need to be for 450 science per minute. That's a big problem. So the next decision I had to make is, well, how are we going to work on this? There's no way that we are going to have enough ore patches nearby to belt everything in, so we're going to need trains anyway. So we should probably split off different parts of the base and make them train-friendly, delivered by trains, and then compress those items into something that's a little bit denser. So that's what these things are, basically. These are train stations bringing in items that are supplying certain things that we're going to need during a certain part of the build. And one of the most dense things, the first thing I really designed when I was working on the Midstrap, is the circuit area. Because if you see this right here, if we have an output of blue circuits, it requires all these green circuits, red circuits, and then the red circuits requires green circuits and plastic and all this stuff. And if we want red circuits, we need all these other belts. So really, if we just split off all this stuff, we can actually collapse things down to just a few belts for our circuits, and we can keep more or less the same size of the bus. So that's one of the central ideas for the build, is that we are going to start with 45 science per minute, a smaller, compact kind of idea, and then we're going to add on to it certain things as we need them to speed things up, basically, and to start producing things in a specific order. All right, so let's go hop in a car and take a look at the new version of the original. Oops, Oopsie daisy. Let's go take a look at the new version of the 45 science per minute section of the base, which is actually going to be much more compact because we don't need purple science or yellow science or to launch rockets. We just want to get to the robots and then let them build everything after that point. And this also addresses another issue that I discovered in the original Bootstrap base here. On the main bus, we've got empty belts because half of our copper and pretty much half of our iron is getting stripped off to make the green circuits, and then even more is getting stripped off to make red circuits and blue circuits. And so we could make this a lot denser if we just, instead of having these lines go straight down the middle of the bus, if we just integrated our smelting into our production of initial green and red circuits. And so that's what this area does. I'm using the constant combinators. They're just everywhere so that I know where to put things, know what should be going down the belts, and it just makes things easier to set up and less thought involved, so I can be as lazy as possible after I spend a year designing this stupid thing. Anyway, so we've got different things getting smelted going down these belts, but the materials used to make the green circuits and the red circuits never enter the bus. They go directly, like this is, I think this is the iron line. This goes directly in here to make the green circuits, and the copper line ends up running down to make the copper cables, and a similar idea for the red circuits. We never put the plastic on the bus because we don't really need it for anything besides the circuits and, what, I guess explosives at the end. So there's no point to putting it at the, no point to putting it on the bus. So our bus actually shrinks. We only need one line of each of these, and these numbers are very specific so that we can do red and green science, as well as blue, and I threw in the military science because we're going to have to kill some aliens and stuff and need turrets and grenades and all that kind of thing. But this layout, it looks a little weird. It's got some gaps, but these gaps are all very specific. Like, why are these power poles in this particular configuration? That's because we're going to be overlapping the future blueprints onto this blueprint, and you can see now our layouts have space for beacons. Everything's laid out with beacons. But this layout, you can see, wow, that's a lot of inserters for just 45 science per minute. This layout is designed to use the technology we have at the time, which is just yellow belts and inserters and fast inserters, to also support 450 science per minute later on, so you don't have to change anything. I don't want to break down anything. I don't want to rebuild anything. I want to just upgrade and overlay things on top. And you see more gaps here. We've got some oil being produced here, and we have gaps for all the beacons, that kind of thing. We got some trains built in. All of the blueprints have the trains already laid out. These ones do not have schedules, but the other ones should have all the schedules already pre-made. As long as you name the outpost the same thing, it should just automatically work. So after we've got this guy up and running, we got our initial smelting, we've got this little production area making us inserters and belts and machines and stuff, and we've got the red and the green science automated. We move on to the next blueprint, which is going to start using this oil stuff. And it's going to take us up to the point of construction robots and roboports, which is going to be the big, huge, major factor in the build, because after we get construction robots, I don't have to build anything. Well, I still have to build stuff, just not parts of the main base. I just have to focus on outposts and walls and stuff like that. So there is some overlap. The red and the green should already be up, and then you use these to overlap this blueprint with the previous one. So we've got the gray military science now and the chemical blue science added onto it. And I've already made the decision and like figured out how everything gets split off. It's actually more compact. I just took all the gaps out because I like the way it looks. Just a aesthetic preference, really. So we've got all these things going down the line, and we've got all these pipes going down, and I've made the decision to combine a little bit from the old base, and actually, because I've made things more compact, our total bus length and size is going to be like half the size of the old one. So that's pretty good, I guess. But I made the decision to take this blueprint from the original Bootstrap, which created the red belts, it created roboports, created construction robots, and it created laser turrets, and I just merged that with this final mall so that we don't have redundancy. Makes things more compact. So there will be a little bit of a This might be a slower part of the build. I'm not sure because I haven't tested any of it yet. But we got to build all this belt all the way out to here to where we're going to start to build robots. And this right here is going to be the only thing in the entire base that gets broken down, with one other minor exception. The only thing that is temporary is this little spot where we're going to add gear wheels, because I haven't added the gear wheel belts yet, which we're going to do after this. But anyway, we're going to build this part, basically just add the belts coming straight down here. And we're going to build enough to get robots starting to get made, and the red belts to start to get made. And then we're going to let the construction robots take over. And then from that point forward, I will be worrying about the walls and the turrets and the mining outposts, hopefully. And doing as little of this as humanly possible, just let the robots do everything. So this takes us up to the first 4 sciences, and it gets the robots going. And all of the blueprints are laid out in such a way that the robot network should self-spread as the robots add roboports to the network. All the blueprints have roboports baked into them. That was another problem or an annoying factor with the original Bootstrap, is that I had to go through and actually just place these. And the robots didn't do it for me because I hadn't figured that out ahead of time. So this time, roboports are in every blueprint already. But once we get the robots up and running, we're going to need a ton of steel plates, a ton of iron plates, a ton of gear wheels, and we also need a lot of bricks in the long run for our military science, for the purple science. The next science to add would be the purple science, and we need a lot of bricks for that, and a lot of stone for that. So this is the next layout where we'll start to use trains. You see, it takes a ton of red belts. And we're also going to need to make a ton of electric furnaces, which require a lot of steel and a lot of bricks. So that's what the next edition is going to add. It's going to add... Let's run here down to the end and just... Oh, that's the overlap part. It's going to add steel plates. It's going to add stone bricks. It's going to add iron plates. And it's going to add 2 belts, specifically for the purpose of making belts. Because belts take a ton of gear wheels, like... Express Underground belt takes 80 just for one set. We're going to have 2 belts of gear wheels and then a belt of ore for concrete. And this also adds the purple science. And then after that point, I decided to basically just combine the rest. Where do we need to go? The rest is up here. All right. So we're pretty much done with the tour. We'll start building in just a moment. Hello, autosave. Nice to see you. The next update adds 2 different outposts up here to the top. One of them, which is very complicated to design, and one of them, which was not very complicated comparatively. This one adds all of the circuits. A blue belt of red circuits, 2 red belts of green circuits. I'm going to get my colors and whatever's mixed up. I know I've probably already screwed it up. Half a belt of yellow circuits. No, oh damn it, I just did it. Half a yellow belt of blue circuits. Okay. So that's what all this is. It's really, I can't imagine there's not mistakes in this somewhere. There's got to be mistakes. But the robots are going to build all of it, and all I've got to worry about is inputting copper, iron, coal, and oil and water. And hopefully everything works. And then the one over here is low-density structures, was one of the other major sources of tons of items that I could collapse down into, like all this stuff right here. All these machines are making the rocket fuel and the low-density structures for launching rockets. And yellow science also requires low-density structures. That's like a half a belt each, and they go down this way. And they get added in, and you can see where all the gaps were, what they were for. Although I've tried to make it so that if you've started upgrading... Oh gosh, where were we? If we've started upgrading this guy to red belts already, there won't be any conflicts with this one, so hopefully everything lines up properly, and we have a functioning base that goes smoothly up to 450 science per minute. But I don't know, because I haven't tested anything, so maybe we should get going and make this thing for real. Dude, where's my car? All right, here we go. Brand new world, ready to play. Hit the B button, and we open up the blueprint panel. Here is the book right here, and I will include a link in the description of the video and the future videos in this little mini-series. So you can import this. It'll be a pastebin file, I imagine, because I haven't made it yet. But there it is as well. I'm going to use this book. I'll put a link for this one as well. This is just a very simple, straightforward, basic rail book I made. And if you have your own blueprints you want to use for railroads, it shouldn't make any difference. These are very straightforward. Just mouse over those quickly. And I also include a link in the description to a nuclear power book, which this blueprint is actually in the Midstrap book as well. But this is a blueprint that you could use in any base that will always be useful. So you might want a standalone book for that. So that will be in the description as well. Let's see. We got some ore patches here. Got the stone, got the coal, got the iron, got the copper. Are there any rocks? I like to break some rocks to start off to jumpstart my coal production. There's some sand, or not sand, but I guess dirt over here. Let's look over here, see if I can find some rocks. I'm not in a huge hurry, but I don't want to take all day. There's some rocks. I'm going to break some rocks, and we're going to do the usual thing of scaling up the burner miner drills. Oh, new sound effects. Tink, tink. Wow, okay. Yeah, they've been adding all kinds of high-definition graphics. You might notice that the trees are animated now. That's really cool. First time I really noticed that. I haven't started an actual new world in quite a long time. Tink, tink. This one just has stone. I actually just wanted the ones with coal. I got 85 coal from those. Okay. Oh, that's very nice. We've got animated trees and some different colored trees as well. And the water is also animated, which I can't quite see from here. All right, blueprint book. First blueprint, pretty straightforward. I'll go ahead and plop it down. And the only thing that needs to be over the coal or the iron part. Oh, those are kind of... Are these updated as well? They seem, or maybe they've been enhanced. They seem quite similar, but also different to the old ones. Alright, so there we go. Just make sure all the drills... Oh, wait, hang on. More trees. Make sure all the drills are over the ore patch. The rest doesn't really matter too much. Alright. What's in the way? A tree or something. So there's one for that, and then there's one for coal. For copper. Don't need nearly as much copper in the early part. And then this one is going to make us a bunch of stone furnaces, so I'll just dump that over there. And we'll start placing that. And then, I guess make a bunch of those. Do that. And blop, blop, blop. Alright, so now we've got one of those. That looks slightly different as well. Oh my goodness. I'm noticing all these little details of these machines. Because I guess I have used them to design these blueprints, but I didn't look super close up. Okay, so now we want to make more of those. And eventually we will add some burner miner drills up in the coal patch. And we will form them into a circle so they feed each other, the usual thing. We will make enough belts and enough power poles to fill out this, so this thing starts sustaining itself more or less. A little micro base to get up and running. I don't see... Oh, I didn't have Alt held down. That's the problem. There's your problem. Okay, there's the third one. Probably get up maybe 4 of these, and then we will start... I guess I'll go ahead and put that on my bar temporarily. Let's get another one of those going, and then we need to start producing... start adding some up here to get some coal, because I'm about to run out. Alright, I think we are just about ready for our first power system. Let's put the newly redesigned groundwater pump in, or offshore pump. They changed the graphic recently, and also it places a little bit differently, but otherwise it's pretty much the same as it used to be. And just so I can run past it, I like to do this kind of thing. Give me a little wiggle waggle room. And we'll do that. And... kaplow and kaplow, and now we will have power in just a moment as soon as I get that guy out of the way. Actually, I do have a blueprint for this. Why did I do that? Gotta use a blueprint, buddy. We don't have to, but it does help. There we go. Look at that. Bam, blueprint. That was the right one, right? Yeah, I think so. Get this guy out of the way. I was sort of wondering how trees were going to work with all these big blueprints we have to place. It seems like I can get rid of them. I wonder if I just hold down the button and run around. Yeah, it doesn't remove the blueprint I placed as long as I just keep the button held down. It keeps me in tree chopper mode. But anyway, we need to run some power lines. So let's grab these guys and run them down. Over to the coal patch. We'll start running the coal line down. Oh, there's... Look at that. It's right there. Okay, that's very convenient. I didn't really plan that out. I've just sort of been winging it. And, pretty good, I guess. Haven't made any belts. Make some of those. And we should be good to go. And I guess the, we need it on the other side as well. Because these power poles have a really small coverage area. And then we'll just connect them like that. And let's go pick up some of this coal. Yoink. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of coal. Oh, very nice. And plow. Now we got power. Hooray, 180 kilowatts. Okay, so we got some science packs going. Let's start our first research. We need some assembly machines. Let's do that one first. There we go. And that does not have power. Okay, power would be nice. Where's my power pulse? Let's start hooking these guys up. Alright, there we go. Research. Okay, first research is done. Let's do logistics, I guess. Just basically going to do all of them. One after the other. Alright, so our starter blueprints are up and running. Let me dump some more copper into that chest. We are doing steel axe a little bit earlier than I ordinarily would, but I have a lot of trees I'm going to have to chop down. Since I'm done with these guys, I am going to delete them from the book. If you're not familiar with blueprint books, this is a local copy. My master copy in my blueprint tab here will not get changed, so those blueprints are always there. If I want to get them back, I can just pull out an extra copy of the blueprint book. But since there's a lot of blueprints in here, I want to clean this up a little bit and trim it. Since we don't need those anymore, I'll keep the steam one for a little while. Cycle through the bars. Okay, so this is a big steam layout. And also, by the way, I added in the title here how many... I guess you can't see it from that particular view, but I added how many drills you need to support this. It takes 120 drills to run 4 belts of coal, and it will run all those steam, so there's less mystery involved. Let's cycle through. We need a location for this guy. We've got some ore patches there and an ore patch down there as well, so I'll just try to put it, I guess, in between those. Something like something like this. And just leave some room to the right. Maybe something like... Doesn't really matter. Like that. Bam! Okay, so we've got some lines, and we need to basically get this thing up and running to move our production off to the right. So we need... Let's start with the iron. And we will do this belt just a little bit. I've had my smelty furnacey guy over there producing stuff. And we got a bunch of trees I gotta chop down. I think, did I just delete something? I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to replace the blueprint a couple times just to make sure, because I have all these trees. But I'm only gonna set up a little bit of each of the different item types so that we can get this guy up and running. Yeah, I can't see a damn thing. We've got some specific little belt splits here. And there's the little constant combinator guys to show us what items should be on the belt. What should be where before we can see them. It makes it a little bit less confusing. Okay, so we are going... Oh, I guess I didn't put them on my bar. So let's do this. Let's set up our hotbars. There we go. Okay, so we want this guy up and running up into here. And we want to trace him back. It's this one in the middle. Pretty sure. Oops. Okay, I've already screwed something up. Okay, so that'll do that guy. And then we will just... This will be the ore line. This will also have coal up through here. Like that. And then the coal's got to run down through here. Like that. Splitter and splitter and... Splitter, I just met her. Okay, here we go. Chop down more trees. Place more belts. Place more furnaces. Get it up and running. And I think we are ready to start plugging this guy in. Hopefully it doesn't spike my power too much. Plugging in, we're starting to use all these inserters here. We need, let's see, we need this guy going. We're going to have to just connect them up with the limited amount of drills I have going at the moment and then distribute them better later. We're going to need this copper line here for, this is for copper plates, and then the one down here is for the circuits. This is for iron plates, and then we'll need an iron line down here for the green circuits. So let's just do this kind of thing. And bring it straight through there. Yoinks. Yoinks. Alright, pretty good. I don't have medium power poles yet. We're working on that, so some of this stuff is on power. That's okay. As long as we have some of it working and I didn't screw anything up. We are filtering off the coal here to come down here for plastic later. We've got some of these guys going. We can start filling some of these in. Hey, we got iron plates going down the stuffs. That's good. Oh, you know what? Let's make sure, before I start doing that, since we should have... Let's see, is it working? We've got copper plates coming down here to feed the coils, and then some iron plates should be going down here. I guess not too... Oh, these aren't powered because we don't have the steel power poles because of this awkward configuration. So I guess I can plug these ones in here because these have the small power poles, and then we can come back and update the rest later like that. And let's see, you are missing... Oh, it looks like I placed that in the wrong spot and overwrote furnace location. Okay, little problems like that, trying to figure out that, like, oh, I screwed something up placing something, will only be a problem as long, until we get to robots, pretty much. Okay, oh, we need furnaces here. There's our medium power poles. That's that problem solved. Let's see, I think what we should do, we want grenades, probably. I'm not sure exactly when we're going to get attacked, but we want to be prepared for it when we do. And since we have those power poles now, we can fix that problem. There we go. There we are. There we go. There we go. And I haven't been putting any lights. I've constructed a bunch of lights, but I haven't put them in anywhere yet, except for the little starter area. And there's the iron plates coming down through here. So that should be... I think that's the last thing we were missing. Stone's coming down, coal's coming down, iron plates, copper plates, and green circuits. Alright, so I do need assembly machines. But we should be now, well, once the items filtered down here, we should be crafting them here. Is there some spots where I can put in some lights? Because it's dark. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, it's so much better. Civilization. Finally. There's no power pole there. Let's see, where would the power pole be? Right there. There we go. And did I get some assembly machines? I did. We want to start producing that ammo. There we go. There's another one of those. There we go. There we go. And if you're ever like confused on which direction these things are supposed to be facing, you can choose your pipette tool, hit Q, and it will automatically default to the right direction. These things aren't filled out yet because we don't have those texts yet. But I'm going to go ahead and fill these in. Like so. These are maybe railroad? No, railroad takes stone? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Oh, those are medium and large power poles, so I can actually overwrite that now. Military 2 finished. Okay, let's see. What do we want? Expand your inventory sounds good. Assembly machine Mark II. Let's expand our inventory. And let's see, let's put in some power poles, make sure these guys are crafting all of our things, and these chests are already limited. Start filling these guys in. And then we can start picking up items from here instead of going all the way to the left. That's pretty good. All right, what are you missing here, friendo? You're missing iron plates, because iron plates... are they capable of getting through? Yes, we're just... Oh, we're not crafting as many yet, because I didn't fill out the whole line. That's part of the problem. And how's our power doing? Power's doing okay for the moment. All right. So, it's time to just start filling things out. Get some more iron. We also need more drills. Light bulb. Okay, I think we are ready for the last of the components. It's missing... Well, okay, second last for this section of the smelting. I don't have the bricks set up yet, but we don't need that till we start using the military science. It's going to be for the steel. And I think I have enough of these power poles now set up. I had a little bit of steel set up in this beginner setup, specifically for this purpose, to jumpstart our medium electric pole production. And then the steel will go down the line, and it will let us make more of them later, because then they'll get crafted in that production area, which should be pretty much up and running now. There we go. I still have a lot of inserters to fill out, and I haven't filled out everything on every line, but we're just filling things out as I want them to get, you know, I want green circuits, so I filled a little bit of that so we could start producing things, and then I'll finish constructing it when I get around to it, I guess. We are making ammo. That's good. We have researched this kind, right? Okay, why is this? Oh, because we don't have the steel coming down yet. And I don't have that researched yet either. And then this should start getting made once the steel shows up. We got the inserters. We got the belts. Could use some splitters. What do I need? Do I need some assembly machines? Okay, 12 of those. Pretty good. I think all this all looks pretty much filled out except for those two guys right there. And as we research things, I'm going to have to put down the... I can put that guy down. Oh, no, I can't. Don't have one yet. But as I research new technologies, we're going to have to stamp this a few more times, which hopefully should be no big deal. We obviously don't have roboports yet. That's just for later. These are going to eventually go down here. Yoinks, yoinks, yoinks. Okay, but anyway, I think that's probably a pretty good spot to end the first video for our Midstrap playthrough test. So that's gonna do it for this episode. We will continue on next time. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.